Hello, dear children, and welcome back to the second session of our mathematics class. In the previous classes, I'm sure we have all understood how counting is done. Now, we understood how we counted different objects, different, trees, flowers, and different kind of shapes, right? So today we are going to move on to a new chapter. Now, the new chapter is chapter number 4, more numbers. All right. So more numbers simply means we are going to learn about different types of digits. Okay. So in this chapter we will learn to identify the numerals in ones and tens place. Now this is a new word for you. It's going to be ones and tens place. All right. So identify the numerals in ones and tens place. Now we will come to that later on. So let's look at the next objective that we have. That is, we will learn how to compare two numbers. Now when I say compare, we are going to look at the greatest number and the smallest number. Okay, we are going to try to differentiate and find out which is greater, which is smaller. All right, and the next objective that we have is to arrange the numbers from the smallest to greatest and vice versa, from greatest to smallest. All right. So we're going to learn how to arrange different numbers from smaller to greater and greater to smaller. Now, let's begin with our class today. Now, first thing we have to understand is place value. Place value. All right. The counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are written with only one digit. All right. One digit. So let's look at what one digit means. All right. One digit means, please look at this one. It has only one number, 1, right? So it is written in one number only, so it is called a one digit number. Similarly, 2, it is also only one number, so it is called a one digit number. Okay, so similarly, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, they are all one digit numbers. Okay, because they have only one number. Now we are going to learn about two digit number, 10. This 10 has two digits. That is, the first digit is 1 and 0. This 1 and 0 together, they are called 10. All right. Now, if you look at this picture here, this 0 is at one's place. Okay. This 0 is at one's place. And this 1 is at tens place. All right. So these are the two different places that we are going to learn today, ones and tens. All right, children. So to understand, let's look at another example. Let's look at the number 11. 1, 1. Now the first one is in ones place. The second black one is in tens place. So we write it as like this: 1/10. That means one number is at tenth place, and we write 1 ones. So it means one number is at ones place. All right. So when you join this 1/10 and 1 ones, it becomes 11. All right. Similarly for 12, if you look at this number 1, it is at tens place. If you look at the number 2, it is at ones place. All right. So we can read this as 1/10 and 2 ones. All right. So when you combine these 1/10 and 2 ones, they form 12. All right. So this is about places. Now, let's try to understand this even better, okay? Let's look at this figure here. The blue strip. The blue strip represents tens place, okay? And the red strip represents ones place, all right? So in the first example, it is already solved. So please look at this first example. In tens place, we have one blue strip, and in zeros place, we have no strips at all. So for the first one, we are writing 1/10, meaning one blue strip, okay? 1/10. And there's no strip over here, so we're writing 0 ones, all right? So when you combine 1 and 0, it forms 10, all right, children? So if you look at this table here, in tens place, there's 1 because we have a blue strip here, okay? So in tens place, we wrote 1, sorry. And in ones place, we have 0 because in ones place, there's no red strip, all right? So 1, 0 is T, E, and 10, all right? So this is how you identify the places. Let's try to solve the next example. Let's look at the first place, tens. In tens place, we have one blue strip. That means 1/10. So we will write 1/10, okay? In ones place, we have one red strip. So we will write 1/1s, okay? So when we combine 1 and 1, it forms 11, okay? So if you solve this, in ones place, we will write it as 1 because there's a red strip here, one red strip. In tens place, we will write 1 again because there's a single blue strip here, one strip, all right? So together, when you combine 1 and 1, you get 11, all right? ELEVEN, 11, all right? So similarly, let's look at the next example. In the next example also, the tens place, you find only one blue strip, okay? Only one. And in ones place, you find two red strips, So if you look at tens, we have 1/10 because only one blue strip, and two ones, because we have two red strips, okay? So when we combine 1/10 and two ones, it becomes 12, all right? So in this box, we will write like this. In ones place, we will write 2 because we have red strips here. And in tens place, we will write 1 because we have only 1/10. All right, children? So in the same way, we have for 13 also. In the same way, we will write 3 over here. We will write 3 here because in one's place you find 1, 2, 3 red strips. Okay? That's why in one's place you will write as 3. And in tens place, you see only one strip, so you will write it as 1. So this, when you combine 1 and 13, you will get 13, okay? 1 and 3, sorry, you will get 13. So the spelling of 13, the name of the number is THIRTEEN, all right? So this is the name for the numeral given 1, 3, all right? So this is all about place value. Now, please do not get confused. Place value, in place value, the ones place is always on your right, okay? Always on your right. And the tens place is on the left. So let's look at some other exercises so that we can understand about these place values. But before we go there, let's look at the numbers and their number names. We have learned about this in the last class also. Let's do a quick recap before we move on to the next concept. Now, if you look at these yellow boxes, orange boxes, sorry, you will find different number names given here. And if you look at the blue boxes, you will find different numerals are given here. All right. So what we have to do is we have to make a line and join the number to their number names. Okay. And let's look at the first number, 11. Now, if you look at 11, the numeral is here and the number name is in this place. So we draw an arrow, mark it 11 to the number name 11. All right. Similarly, if you look at 12, you will find that the number name is here. So you will draw a line in such a manner that these two are connected. Okay. Similarly for 13, 1, 3 and 13. All right. And similarly 1 for 14. So you join it to the number name 14. And next is 1, 5. You join it to 15. All right. And finally 1, 6. The number name 16. All right. So this is all about matching the numbers and the numerals of two-digit numbers. Here, if you notice, we used only two-digit. That means 1 and 2, for example, it forms 12. If you look at 1 and 4, it forms 14. So there are two numbers combined together forming a number. So they are called two-digit numbers. Okay? So let's look at the next example. We did this in the last class also. So we will quickly make a group of 10 stars. Now here what we have to do is these 10 we have to write in places. Okay. So if you look at this number 10, 1, 0, the number on the right is on your right is 0. So that 0 will come in tens place and the number 1 will come on your left side. So this number 1 will come in tens place. So this is how you you use place values. Okay, place values plays a very important part in the numbers value. Okay, so what we are going to learn today is about different places of different numbers so that we can understand the total meaning of the number that it represents. For example, here we can see 1, 0. It represents that, it says that it is 10, right? So similarly, we will be learning more about this in the coming classes. So let's move on to the next topic for now. Comparing numbers. Now, comparing means bringing one number and another number, bringing them together and checking which one is bigger or which one is smaller. All right. So before we move on to numbers, let's look at some objects. We'll try to identify some objects and compare them. If you look at the first, we have 1, 2, 3. 3 apples here. And in the next one, we have 1, 2. 2 apples here. Now, please look here and tell me which one has more apples, the first one or the second one? Yes, the first one has more apples. That means it is greater, right? 3 apples is greater than 2 apples, right? 3 apples is greater than 2 apples. So we will put a tick mark here to show that this is greater than this, all right? In the same way, if you look at these footballs, here in the first picture, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 balls in the first picture. And if you look at the second picture, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 footballs in the second picture. Now, can you guess which one has more footballs in which picture? Yes, the second one has more balls than the first picture. All right. So this is all about comparing with objects. Now let's move on to the numbers. Here, the first topic that we will talk about greater number or bigger number. All right. So let's look at the example given here. The example, it has 9 and 5. So you compare 9 and 5. Now, which one is bigger? Which one is greater? All right. So obviously we know that 9 is greater than 5. All right. The next example, here is an exercise for you. 12 and 14. Which one do you think is greater? Yes, is greater than 12. All right. And now we will look at the smaller number now. We will try to identify the smaller number now. Here are two numbers given, 7 and 19. Which one do you think is bigger or greater? Sorry, which one is smaller? 17 is smaller, right? So we will mark this as the smaller one, right? Now, these smaller and bigger numbers will be very useful in the days to come because we will try to understand the numbers in such a way that we know the numbers before it, we know the numbers after it. This smaller and bigger number we will be using to identify the numbers before and the numbers after a certain number. So that we will be coming into those classes later on. But for today, we will be learning. We have learned about smaller numbers, bigger, greater numbers, which is nothing but comparing numbers. Comparing numbers simply means understanding which one is bigger and which one is smaller. All right. And we have also learned about place values. Place values have one's place on the right. Let's look at this example. I will explain more with this example. 1, 2. Now, if you look at this number 1, 2, 2 is in one's place because the one's place is always on the right. And 1, digit 1, is in tens place because the tens place is always on the left, okay? On your left. So we have a two-digit number, 1, 2. These two digits form the number 12, all right? So today we have learned about different topics. That is, we have learned how to identify the numerals in ones and tens place, and we have learned how to compare two numbers, which that is finding out which is greater and which is smaller. And finally, tomorrow in the next class we will be learning arrange the numbers from smallest to greatest and vice versa. All right. So until we meet again, dear students, please stay safe, study hard, and put in a lot of effort in learning so that we can, move ahead together in with quality. All right. So all the best and see you next time.